This is a talk on Abdu'l-bahá, the center of the covenant. Abdu'l-bahá's ministry. The biggest trial of Abdu'l-bahá's ministry in those early days remained the upheavals caused by the covenant breakers, the heartache he went through because of the disruptions caused by his half-brother, who, prompted by jealousy, aroused suspicion against Abdu'l-bahá. He was able to turn most members of the family against the master. He corrupted them into breaking the covenant of Baha'u'llah. He involved the political leaders of the country. Abdu'l-bahá had to go to courts to answer allegations which he, with the help of the text of the will and testament of Baha'u'llah, was able to refute all charges. They never gave up. When they failed at one attempt, they tried another. This lasted for years. Abdu'l-bahá did everything in his power to help his brother and the others to change their direction and accept the will and testament of Baha'u'llah, but to no avail. Abdu'l-bahā's work in the establishment of the cause in North America and in the West was one of the successes, the most outstanding achievement that will forever be associated with Abdu'l-bahā's ministry. He traveled to Europe, Egypt, and America after 40 years as a prisoner. He said, "The day is approaching when ye shall witness how, through the splendor of the faith of Baha'u'llah, the West will have replaced the East in radiating the light of divine guidance." Abdu'l-bahá was in constant communication with the North American community. He trained and nurtured them through a large number of tablets, through instructions sent with returning pilgrims, and later through his own travels across the North American continent around 1912 and 1913, and finally through his mandate in the tablets of the Divine Plan. Of the North American community of that time, Shori Effendi says, that community was nursed in the lap of Abdu'l-bahá. Of the destiny of America, Abdu'l-bahá says, "Consider how exalted and lofty is the station you are destined to attain. The full measure of your success is as yet unrevealed, its significance unapprehended." He said, he had breathed on the souls and the spirit of all the Baha'is in such a way that, had it been upon bone, it would have taken on flesh. That's from the Star of the West. Abdu'l-bahá worked tirelessly. Translation on some major works of Baha'u'llah had been started. A wide assortment of literature was also published. The Star of the West was started. Books and pamphlets were written in defense of the faith. Brief histories of the faith were printed. Articles for the press and accounts of travels and pilgrimages were written too. Abdu'l-bahá wrote his will and testament during that time, a time when he was in constant danger. He refused to flee from his enemies. He was determined to follow the example of the Bab and Baha'u'llah. That was his chosen highway. Abdu'l-bahá achieved a lot in his lifetime. One of his main objectives was to have the Bab's remains removed from Tehran to Mount Carmel. The work on the shrine was never halted, no matter how bleak the outlook was. He personally supervised the construction work. On March the 21st, 1909, the day of Nowruz, Abdu'l-bahá had the marble sarcophagus, a gift from the Baha'is of Rangoon, carried up the mountain and placed in the vault. He laid in the sarcophagus the wooden casket which contained the remains of the Bab. A solitary lamp lit the scene, so poignant yet so exultant. The heart of Carmel was receiving the Bab forevermore. Of this event, Zechariah had written, "Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord." After 60 years, the holy remains of the Bab was laid to rest in its final resting place. Abdu'l-bahá laid the remains of the Bab to rest with his own hands. In the shrine with him that evening were Baha'is of both the East and the West. when all was finished, Abdu'l-bahá, who had cast aside his turban, removed his shoes, and thrown off his cloak, bent low over the still open sarcophagus, his silver hair waving about his head, his face transfigured and luminous, rested his forehead on the border of the wooden casket, and sobbing aloud, wept with such a weeping that all those who were present wept with him. Sorrows and memories of a lifetime came flooding in his tears. Two other historical events happened on that same day. The first one is the National Convention in the US, when the decision was made to purchase the land for the Wilmette Temple. The other one took place in Tabriz in Iran, where 18 souls were martyred simply because they were Baha'is. Abdu'l-bahá linked these two events, saying that the interment of the sanctified body of His Holiness the Bab in the shrine on Mount Carmel and the event in Tabriz. He said sacrifice was necessary and martyrdom required. The loved ones of Tabriz won the trophy of excellence.